Hail Kingdom, Pass of Exile 2 0.4 going live very soon, and I prepared some leveling builds for you. So today it will be leveling build for Mercenary, if you decide to start as some crossbow user and not as druid in a league of druids. Maybe you got some question, how powerful this build is? Well, it's good enough, but best part, it's pretty flexible. I used it as solo self-found fresh character, and I managed to beat whole campaign and reached to the end game in 7 hours. It's not the fastest one, but again, it's very flexible and it's impossible to nerf this build when the 0.4 will be released, so feel safe to prepare. In Act 1 in Clearfell, you will start with Fragmentation Round as your first learned skill. And first skill you craft, you want to craft permafrost balls at this point of the game. When reaching Clearfell, you will find one more skill, and you will craft Contagion. That's everything you need for majority of the first act. Main skill will be permafrost bolts, and you will run around and try to freeze enemies with it. Frozen enemies will shatter if you kill them quickly, but if you don't have enough damage to kill them quickly, which is probably true if you're not lucky and you won't have a really overpowered weapon by some luck in early game, then comes your second skill. Fragmentation rounds is basically shotgun shot, and that's the combination we will be using against early game bosses. Idea is pretty simple. Permafrost bolts get increased freeze build-up, so you will freeze enemies really fast, and when they are frozen, your fragmentation rounds will actually deal different type of damage, because it will consume freeze on hit, and it convert all physical damage to cold damage with big explosion. All you need to do is to freeze one enemy and explode him for whopping 500% extra damage at just skill level 5. So freeze and boom. But still there's some packs of monsters which will overwhelm you. That's why we need Contagion. Contagion is debuff, you place it on enemy and it slowly starts to lower its HP. But here's the cool part, after enemy dies it actually starts to eat HP at more higher pace, and also it spreads among enemies. So by killing one enemy with Contagion, you can actually just wait around or run away, and it will finish off most of enemies in every single pack. So basically it's Contagion and shoot, and Contagion will finish most of enemies in a lot of cases. The last skill you will craft over here before reaching last boss is Explosive Grenades. I don't like leveling with grenades a lot, but it got some use cases. Grenades is pretty simple, you just shoot it, it bounces and then it blows up. What I don't like is the timing. Basically you need to wait a lot of time and then only it destroys enemies. So with grenades you need to play smart. For example, you need to lure enemies, and when they follow you, you need to shoot grenades in front of you and kinda account for enemies' movement speed, or we need to like lure them like this. So grenades just require you to give a little bit more effort to your leveling, a little bit more thought, and that's where my build comes into play. Basically we will have ability to deal versus fast enemies with our shotgun crossbow combinations, and we still will be using grenades against slow targets, because slow targets are just insanely easy to target with grenades, and when targets is slow we will just put grenades, run around, and we will get experience like this basically for free. So we can run forward, run fast, advance through campaign at insanely fast pace, and at the same time we're not falling down at the experience curve. So to make every skill pretty powerful at this point of the game, we're using double barrel on our Ice Strike, and you can give additional Ice Bite or Elemental Ornament. With Ice Bite you will get a little bit of damage from time to time, and you will actually freeze enemies a lot faster in most cases, but Elemental Ornament is just safe choice, you will just deal 20% more damage and that's it, pretty good. At the same time, Elemental Ornament is great support gem for fragmentation rounds. Don't forget, normally it deals basically no cold damage, but against frozen targets it converts all damage to cold, so it actually deals a lot of cold damage to frozen targets. The biggest winner of previous patch was Explosive Grenades, and what we want to have on Explosive Grenades is basically multi-shot, so we hit 3 grenades instead of 1, and at this point of the game, again, it will be Elemental Ornament is more than enough, it's just good support gem for every skill that you use to damage enemies. The best part, all the skills is level 1 skills, so basically you assemble this combination from the start of the game, and you can continue playing like this till Act 2 without any changes. However, to make Act 1 a little bit easier and funnier, of course, we will add one more broken combination and one more pretty good skill. It's up to you, and it's kinda optional skill, but it's really good. So Flash Grenade is just basic grenade, but it blinds enemies, and blinded enemies will have less accuracy, therefore they probably will miss you, so it gives you kinda protection. Most importantly, it adds 500% more stun build up. Now you can build up stun on bosses, build up freeze on bosses, and if they stunned or frozen, it will kinda stop progress on another bar. So technically with this combination you can almost permanently stun and freeze bosses one by one. These effects will kinda slow each other down when you freeze enemies or when you stun them. And also it's nice when you're in some bad situation to kinda stun enemies and run away. But of course biggest power spike for us comes after we defeat boss in Ogam village. So after you defeat boss over here, you will get back in town and talk with Latias, you should save her. She will give you uncut skill gem level 5. And this skill gem will be crafted into gas grenade. Gas grenade is used to poison enemies, and you may think, well, we can use it to poison enemies, maybe to break their armor, maybe to just add some damage over time effect, but we will use it with also multi-shot to fire 3 grenades instead of 1, and with elemental ornament, and you can add fire attunement, or you can even get elemental focus or other support gems that just gives you elemental damage, more and more elemental damage. There's like multiple elemental damage support gems. Fire attunement is not perfect, but I just like it. The problem with fire attunement, it actually gives you a little bit less damage if you got insanely high lightning damage crossbow or other elemental damage type. You're actually hunting for something like lightning when you're beating campaign, so it's not perfect, but it works. And this combination completely obliterates bosses. Basically you fire these grenades, they will give you these poison clouds, and then when you blow up them with fire grenades, well, it creates massive explosion. Since last patch we can have similar support gems on boost skills, therefore we basically starting to hit enemies with 3 or 4 grenades almost from earliest stages of the game and create 3 explosions instead of 1, and actually it's 6 explosions because grass grenade, when they explode by any fire, will convert all physical damage to fire damage and create really big explosion. So versus bosses you will just shoot bunch of grenades, and while you're waiting for a cooldown to appear, you will start shooting your fragmentation and ice rounds, try to freeze and stun him and then blow him up. At this point your grenades will recover its cooldown and you will shoot boss with grenades again, so that's like basic combination. Equipment wise we're playing campaign, so it's super simple. You're looking for crossbow with high increased physical damage. It's nice if it has some flat elemental damage, like lightning on fire, it will work really greatly. Lightning is super good because it will shock enemies and you will deal more damage to them. And actually I got a really nice guide for weapon progression in campaign in production. It will be up really soon, but I will leave my shopping list in description. Basically I use it when I'm playing campaign, and it just highlights all good items in the shop, so you just check in quickly, and it highlights items with added elemental damage and with bonus to maximum life. That's basically everything you need in a campaign. You just check shops every now and then and try to find good armors with extra life, so you are more tanky, and weapons with added damage or increased physical. Now, Act 2 is the turning point. That's where everything becomes a lot more funnier. And that's where you can start changing and shaping your build in different directions. In Act 1 we crafted gas grenade to basically almost one-shot first boss. Now level 5 skill gems will start to drop, and that's where we got some options. One of the coolest options, in my opinion, is galvanic shards. Again, at this point monster density will be pretty crazy and there will be a lot of fast monsters. That's one of the reasons why I don't like leveling with grenades. Again, if you want to precisely drop grenades on monsters, account for their movement speed and try to hit them with grenades or just lure them in your traps and blow them like this, well, it's up to you, and you can completely switch into full grenade style. It will be like viable. But I like to deal versus monsters with my basic crossbow, so I'm just run and gun and shoot them. But our ice rounds will become kinda slow at this point. And biggest problem for us is not enemies but bosses in campaign also. So when you drop gems that will add sockets to your skills, you probably will want to increase power of your grenades. And still, with most bosses we will fight only with grenades. So what options do we have? Well, there's tier 5 skill, level 5 it's galvanic shards, and galvanic shards is what you need to just clear all basic trash mobs throughout your journey, and you will use your grenades only on elite enemies and on bosses. No more ammo exchange, you just load galvanic shards and play this. Galvanic shards is lightning skill and it looks like this, so full gameplay of leveling will kinda look like this. I don't know what you think, but to me this leveling is just extremely simple, straightforward, and you just run and gun and everyone just blows up. For galvanic shards, instantly you will use double barrel that you used on your first rounds, but later you will switch double barrel to nimble reload. It's better to reload your crossbow faster than to just load 2 rounds. And then we want to increase power with elemental ornament a little bit, and also fork will increase clearing speed and damage. Since we cleared our skills a little bit, we will level up and we can get oil grenade later in this or third act. So oil grenade will act like damage multiplier for all our elemental attacks. Basically you shoot it and it will apply exposure, also it will blow up. So it also deals some damage, but mostly it will be used like this, you just shoot it and then finish enemies with your crossbow. If you look closely, enemies not only get shocked but also get blown up by some weird fire effects. Guess what? It's time to talk about our buffs, and we got loads of them. We got Herald of Thunder, Wind Dancer, Herald of Ash and Overwhelming Presence, yeah. 5 skills for buffs, pretty crazy, but it's pretty easy and doable. Because we picked Tactician as our Ascendancy. Yep, you don't need to play Tactician. It's leveling build for Mercenary. It doesn't matter if you want to pick Witchhunter or other Ascendancy later, it's just leveling build. So you will play with just 2 points in Ascendancy, you don't need to complete it further, and when you further advance through the game and get more points, what you need to do is to talk with Ascendancy Master and respec your points. Basically, remove these points, you will be able to change your Ascendancy, and in the later stages of the game you can play as a Witchhunter. But for leveling purposes, to make it easier, more streamlined and fun, we will use Tactician with this skill, a solid plan. Persistent buffs have 50% less reservation. This basically means that initially in campaign you will unlock Spirit. It's a resource to use your passive buffs. You will unlock it by beating boss in a Freight turn. You will kill King of Mists and get this buff. I mean, you will get gem and you will be able to craft something. In Act 1 you don't need any buff, but if you wish to, craft Wind Dancer. So it will work, it's nice protective layer. Or you can keep it, beat Act 1, and then when you craft Herald of Thunder, you should already have Galvanic Shards. It speeds up our clearing speed a lot. But when you acquire your Ascendancy, it will start to cost not 30 spirit, but 15. Therefore, you will be able to equip Wind Dancer for defense or Herald of Thunder for even more clear. As you can see, I got Wind Dancer at level 6 and Herald of Ash at level 10, so I actually unlocked it a little bit later in the game when I got my next spirit gems. Last but not least is Overwhelming Presence, so when you unlock or get lucky and drop more spirit gems, you can activate this aura also, and enemies in your presence will have reduced elemental ailment threshold. Therefore, you will be able to use some funny tactics, I will explain you in a second. For support gems, you can add elemental ornament to Wind Dancer. Basically Wind Dancer will protect you, but at the same time you want it to deal some damage. So chance to shock enemies is nice. If you got some lightning damage added from your rings, from your crossbow, from gloves, you will see that Gale Force from Wind Dancer actually dealing nice chunk of lightning damage. Therefore it can shock enemies, so it's pretty useful for our combination. And for Herald of Thunder, it's lightning attunement for more lightning damage and elemental ornament for more elemental damage. That's it, just for clearing speed. Same can go for Herald of Ash, but again, you're playing campaign, you're leveling, and I just don't have the support gems so early in a campaign. One of the big and pretty important switches that you want to make is to switch elemental ornament from explosive grenades, and you want to switch it for short fuse. It's tier 3 support gem, so you need to play through the campaign a little bit to unlock it, but short fuse will lessen the detonation time by 40%, and that's insanely big because normal detonation time is 3 seconds. So normally when you shoot grenade, you need to wait 3 seconds until it detonates. Right now it's just 1.5, so it's like a lot more playable, and that's again why I hate grenades. 3 seconds is just too much to wait until it hits mobs. Coolest part that all this combination for all heralds and basically support buffs can be acquired as early as you defeat Azak Bog in Act 3. So at level 36 you can actually have all spirit buffs active, and it speeds up our clearing speed a lot. While our clear is basically one button press, it's crazy. And if you don't know, you can actually guarantee at least 2 buffs in Act 2 by going into Cat, and in the first zone that called Lost City you will find Golden Tomb. Golden Tomb guarantees to drop 1 spirit gem of level 6, so that's where I crafted my Wind Dancer. And of course the biggest trick to make all of this happen is to play this pretty weird passive skill tree. That's how it works. Basically you start your adventure with just projectile damage, increase projectile damage, projectile stun build up and stuff like that, so you're going projectile damage only. Projectile damage scales our galvanic shards, but at the same time don't forget grenades also is projectile, so it's pretty good. In Act 1 all you want to do is to just go forward and increase your two-handed weapon damage. Also increased area of effect is a great choice. But that's where it gets interesting. When you go down here, you probably will be already in the middle of Act 2 and you should already have around 6 weapon set points. And you want to allocate them. Basically you want to click on weapon set and then allocate points. One weapon set will go for grenade damage solely, second weapon set will go for movement speed if you killed recently, as well as some attack speed, as well as chance to inflict ailments. I got skill tree snapshots and basically character snapshots with all passive skill gems and stuff like that in the description, in the pinned comment, probably, so make sure to check over there. Also in my Discord will be all leveling guides for all characters, so you can just check over there. And that's basically the idea. So we will increase our clearing speed by just using galvanic shards and increasing our movement speed, attack speed when we're destroying basic trash mobs. But we got zero use of this stuff against bosses. Against bosses we will use grenades and we will increase grenade damage by a lot. We will increase cooldown use, so we will be able to throw 4 grenades instead of 3 for a total of like 16, so it's pretty crazy. And when we get all points over here, we will go down to our crossbow section, and in crossbow section we will drop grenade damage and chance to activate grenade second time over here, as well as a little bit of crossbow attack speed and reload speed over here. Since our main problem is bosses, we want to get a little bit of points in damage against rare and unique enemies, and also over here will be area of effect for attacks, basically stuff that will increase damage of our grenades. And as our main weapon, we're taking points over here in crossbow reload speed. Over here also is a little bit of grenade damage. So that's a pretty basic passive tree that you will build around level 40 and it's good to go. Going from there, you can kind of think how powerful your crossbow is. If you think you need a little bit more power, you go to the right side and get this projectile damage stun build up and more projectile damage, so that's good for grenades, good for clear. If you're good with your damage, you can actually even invest a little bit in armor and evasion. Armor and evasion over here. I invested a little bit in physical damage over here. Not the best notes, but it works. Anyways, that's enough to clear maps and clear a campaign. And from here on out, you will start to flash into your late end game build by clearing maps and having fun. Pretty easy, straightforward, chill builds that can clear campaign in 7 hours. Again, without tryharding and memorizing maps, basically chill playthrough. So if you're not planning to play Druid, and you're probably not if you're looking for Mercenary leveling guide, well, you're good to go, enjoy. And if you still haven't decided yet, well, look on the videos on screen right now, probably there's another leveling guides, so check them out and see you in the next ones.